Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. We are here at the new homestead outside on a finally beautiful day here in Michigan. We're at the end of April and we're getting ready to dig into a whole bunch of things throughout the next few months. Before we get into turning this old 70s gem into something a little more updated and a little more sustainable, I wanted to take you guys through the vision, the tour of the outside of this property. Why did we move from 25 acres on a farm to this 5-acre homestead in the woods? What was the point? What's the vision? Why did we do this? And so I want to take you guys through that. But first, a quick announcement. For those of you guys who haven't noticed, the SSL Family Dad logo got an upgrade. Thank you to Braden Technologies for helping us out with designing and getting a new logo. Finally, after all these years, it was just some old picture I threw up of me with a hammer when we first started the YouTube channel, and now we finally have a real professional logo. Thank you, Braden Technologies. I'll put a link in the description to their website. They are a local company and a good friend of ours, and man, if you need any graphic stuff or website stuff or anything like that, media production type things, check them out, and hopefully they can help you guys out. So new homestead, new logo, new journey. Let's go check it out. All right, as you pull in the driveway, this 1976 built home, we have these awesome brick pillars that need a little bit of restoration. So part of the challenge here, we got this house for a pretty good deal for what it is. We're going to be restoring and kind of updating a lot of things around here. So we've got a lot of really cool features in this house, and we're going to try to restore it to its old former glory. And we'll do a full inside tour another day. But as we walk in here, we've got this giant hill that goes up to the house. The house is almost in the center of the 5 acres. So we've got about 2.5 acres in the front here and then 2.5 acres behind. Most of it is hilly. We've got a lot of land that we can use here for sure. South-facing hills we could use, clear out and do for gardens and things like that. We also have this great pond right up front here. We actually share with the neighbor. Our property line kind of comes through about a third of it. So we've got a resource here, and there's tons of fish in there, which is a huge benefit. So we can actually fish and stock this pond and provide some of our own food out of this, which is something we never had at the old homestead. But right up here, so a lot of this pond is runoff, but it must be spring fed because it stays about this level, it seems like year round, from pictures that we've seen and neighbors we've talked to. But up here we have this huge valley next to the house, and this is one of the greatest things about this is the differences in elevation. You see the house is way up here. We've got a huge hill, so we've got lots of elevation we can use for gravity-fed maple syrup systems, for gravity-fed water collection, rain collection, and all that kind of stuff. If we do any kind of gardening down at the bottom of the hill here, we've got lots of room to collect rainwater up at the top and run some things down here. We also have lots of wood as resources in here, all hardwoods, mostly oaks, some maples, some cherries, some cottonwoods. So lots of great wood in here for wood burning. As you can see, lots of dead trees that can be cleared out. So we already have a huge resource ready for us here. One of the greatest assets of this house, but also one of the greatest challenges, is there's almost zero yard. The entire property is landscaped or wooded. And this is about the only patch of grass. And from those of you guys who've been following, you know how much I hate grass. So this is where the septic field is, actually somewhere up in here. And this is the only area that's been cleared on the property. I say that's the greatest asset because I don't want to deal with a lot of grass. That's a waste of time and energy for me. But it also means that there's not a lot of sunny locations where we can place gardens. Gardening here will be one of our greatest challenges. We have lots of small areas that get a good amount of sunshine. I'm facing south right here, so behind you guys is south, and then on this side of us here would be the north. And so we do have a lot of area right here where the sun will kind of beat down on the south side of this little hill. This fire pit over here will be getting cleared out. Well, that'll all be taken out. And so I think we do have some gardening space along this hill behind me. And also possibly along the hill where the pond is. I think we've got some opportunities there. So we're going to be taking our time with raised beds. We are going to build some this year, but I want to really see where the sun is and where things move throughout the day here and throughout the year, and where all of our shade is going to be. If I need to take out any trees and clear any space or things like that to get our gardens in here, of course, we need to produce some food for ourselves. And we already got started on wood collection, so we've got lots of wood that we'll be using as a resource to heat our home and cook with to some extent. And like I said, all the resources down here in the valley of all that wood, we're going to have to devise a system to clear this out and drag wood down here, kind of like a logging operation, and pulling these logs up to this landing area where I can cut and split and process this stuff. And then from here, it will get taken up the hill to the house, and then we'll stack it up there so we're ready to use it. And so quite a bit of work to do here still. I'm going to take you over to one of the areas that you're probably going to be seeing the most of, or a lot of, over the next few months. This area right here, this is a south-facing hill, so south is this way, meaning the sun is going to be beating down on the hill here this way. We do have some tree cover in here, but there's a good open amount of space. And so I actually think that this hill might be one of our best gardening assets. And so we're going to start this year by doing some, probably some terraced type gardening. We also have got lots of repair work to do up here. We'll talk about that in another video. Lots of things to fix and paint and redo. And but this area right here, all along this hill, might be a great place for a small wallapini or some small terraced raised beds or other things like that we can build right into this hill, as well as a lot of the areas over here that have been landscaped. You'll see all these kind of terraced flower beds or beds up here, and these areas also will get a decent amount of sun for about half the day, but definitely not going to get sun throughout the whole day. So we'll have to do some shade tolerant crops up in this area. So coming up the hill here, you can see they've got some ivies and some other kind of landscapey type stuff growing in here. Some of that we may leave, some of that we may clear out. We've got some barren areas here where we can plant in, and I think we'll use this area quite a bit for fruiting type things, fruit bushes, fruit trees, and lots of small spaces up along here to clean out and garden in, and these little areas like this here as well. So this house also has an enormous amount of south-facing decks, so we can do quite a bit of patio gardening. Although we have quite a bit of repair to do here, we have quite a bit of open deck space that is usable. And so you can see this is all south-facing, so we can put our fruit trees out here that we have from the atrium that are growing inside right now, and also lots of container gardening, railing boxes here that you can add. We can add a lot of growth to, and we can grow quite a bit in the space that we have, as well as all down the sides of all of this these landscape stairs. We got some fruit trees and some strawberries in that package there ready to go. That'll come in a future video. And just out the back side of the house, so this will be the back 2.5 acres behind the house. This is where we have the animals currently. I've said this many times in other videos, but this is a future place for a small barn. It won't be as big as the farm barn or the pole barn we had out there, but we're going to clear some trees out, and this will be a great location for a pole barn to sit. So we've got quite a bit of flat area up here, right off to the edge. Over here it goes down into that deep valley I showed you earlier, but this is all flat, so we've probably got about an acre of nice flat ground back here, 1.5 acres even, before it starts to drop off over on the side. So we've got lots of usable area up here for future pastures, for possibly pigs or more goats or even sheep or something like that, if we got this cleared out a little bit. So we will be clearing out some, but not all of the trees in here in order to kind of make this the pasture area for livestock. We've got our chickens and goats and the famous duck, who he's fended off several raccoon attacks, and he'll be around forever. So just coming back around the house now, back to the decks that we were just on a few minutes ago, coming all the way back around, and we've got a lot of space here where we can use terraced type buildings, sugar shacks. You can build all kinds of things with stone and concrete and brick in the woods, and we're going to experiment with all kinds of new things. This will be also the future location somewhere in here of the future chicken coop, the tree fort or tree house type chicken coop that will go in here. And so that should be a lot of fun to build coming up. The more that I'm in this woods, as the leaves just start to pop out on the trees, the more maples I'm noticing in here. I think that we have a really great opportunity to possibly build some kind of a sugar shack down the hill here, and then run some kind of a collection tubing system up in through the valley to collect all the maple sap, maple syrup. So there's so much work to do here, and it's exciting. I love these new journeys, these new projects. I like to start with a clean slate and just build everything up the way that I want it. So a couple things about the farm. Why, what some of the reasons why we moved. Some of the things that were, kind of side thoughts. One of the things is we have a family of 5, and the home that we lived in there on the farm was really only designed for 2. It was very small. We shared a bathroom for many years. Another side note to that is that it was about 25 to 30 minutes away from the church that I work at, and that was one of the deciding factors for us to move this way. Ministry is a huge part of our life, and we wanted to be close so that we could do that work and not waste so much time driving, and be able to get back and forth with our kids and for different events and different things like that. We also wanted a little bit of a larger home so that we could, obviously have room for our family, but that we could have a Bible study. We could host things here if we needed to, and have a little bit of that space to use for the ministry work that we do as well. A lot of other things, homesteading wise, there were a lot of main factors. The property that we lived on out there, although there was 25 acres, most of that property was covered in water the majority of the year. There were a few months, 3 or 4 months out of the year where things dried out there, and we had the hay field certainly, and we had the maple trees that were a great resource. But here we have the elevation is one of the greatest resources on this piece of property. Everything is dry where we are, and the land here is usable. There's actually a lot more usable land here than you think, even though it's only 5 acres and it is different elevations and hilly. We have a lot of usable land here. And so the exciting thing is that we get to start from scratch and build a homestead just the way we want it, and with everything just how we want it. That's going to involve clearing some land. That's going to involve a lot of earthworks. It's going to involve a lot of tree cutting. It's going to, setting up gardens and raised beds and container gardening and all these different ways to grow food. We have orchards to plant, which we're going to be doing in kind of a unique way, spread out throughout the property instead of one main single orchard. There's opportunities for sawmills here where I can set up a sawmill pavilion or have a wood cutting shed or something like that down in this landing area that I showed you where all that pile of wood was, where we could work on milling our own lumber from cottonwood and pine and even oak and other things that are in here. So there's lots of opportunities here that were just different than the old property. We did lose the hayfields. I think that's the one thing that we will miss. We had about 9 acres of hayfield there on the old farm, and that was a huge resource for us. However, we're going to just adjust the sustainable approach that we had, different livestock, different approach on a different scale that will fit the needs of our family here a little bit better. And I think it's actually going to work out better than it did at the old place with more property. And so the other huge part of this that you're not seeing is the house itself. The house itself was built in the 70s, and it was a top of the line home at the time. Custom architecture. This wasn't a cookie cutter box that that is thrown in like they do nowadays with a lot of subdivisions and other things. This was a custom home with brick and fireplaces and brick chimneys and various levels and built into the hill. The house itself was built around sustainability, and I'm gonna take you guys through a whole tour of this home. Sometimes we call it the hippie home, because that was the time frame when this was built. It was a huge time to talk about renewable energy and saving the planet and all of these other things. And so part of this journey is also restoring this home to its former glory. This was like I said, it was a top of the line home when it was built, built, but it has been neglected in a lot of different ways over the years, and some money needs to be put into it, and some repairs need to be, some things need to be upgraded. There's lots of mechanical things that need to be upgraded and changed, and so we're going to be going through a lot of those things: heating and cooling, and windows and doors and water heaters and plumbing and electrical and a lot of those kinds of things. We want to kind of restore this home to its former glory and take advantage of the hippiness and the sustainability of how it was built. It's built south-facing and to collect light during the day and warm the home in the wintertime. It's built with south-facing windows and high insulation and thick walls and all kinds of other things. I'll take you guys through at another time. So I'd love to know, what are you guys most excited about? Those of you guys who have followed the channel for a while and seen the evolution of these different places that we have lived, what are you guys most excited about setting up here? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you have any ideas? What can we use this property for? We'll kind of see how these things play out over the years, but hopefully you guys are in and ready for this new journey. We learned a ton of things at the last 2 homesteads that we have had, and so now we can apply what we've learned and grow this place up and make it awesome. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video, and of course we'd love to have you tag along. If this is your first time here, you're just trying to figure out what this place is all about, we'd love to have you subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified when we post new content, and jump on board for the new journey ahead here with the SSL family. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.